Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's InstructLab community meeting. Today is October 15th, 2024. Before we get into this meeting, there are just a few things I'd like to cover. All of these meetings are governed by the InstructLab Community Code of Conduct, which essentially means just to be nice to each other and yeah, just be nice to each other. All of these meetings will be recorded and posted on the InstructLab YouTube channel. If you wish to not be on video, then you can turn your camera off. Or if you don't want your name to be visible on the meeting as well, then you can just join via phone number. If you have any questions throughout this meeting, then please raise your hand and we'll address you from there. If you are joining via phone, you can't raise your hand. So just unmute and speak whenever you think is suitable. For every meeting as well, we have the attendee list. So if you would like to put down your name, just so we know who joins these meetings, feel free to do so. And yeah, let's just get right into the notes. I see Andy has announced a new UX channel. If you're here, Andy, would you like to speak about it?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, folks. My name is Andy Barron. I'm a product designer over at Red Hat, with my colleague Katie Edwards, who's also on the call today. And we just want to mention that there's a new UX channel in the InstructLab Slack instance, and we're starting to dig into kind of various UX issues or topics related to InstructLab. So one of the first things in that channel actually was Mo Duffy making a suggestion that we do sort of a heuristic review or UX analysis of InstructLab's onboarding experience as relative newcomers to the project. We figured that was a good idea. So we have a couple of issues that we started digging into. The first being a couple of ideas for the website, which now hasn't been updated significantly in a few months. I know since the website was initially created, there's been a lot of awesome video content recently that folks have created. And it's also some ideas we have around the top area of the website too. So Missy Johnson has done a great job kind of digging into redesign or design tweaks and updates to the site itself. And there's an issue in 143 there. Folks are interested in taking a look at those ideas, maybe proposing other ideas too. And then Katie Edwards took a stab at taking the top-level organization README, which is one of Mo's suggestions as well, shortening it, and also pointing over to the new documentation site as well. We realized that I think there's a review or intent to kind of go through all of InstructLab's READMEs to dramatically shorten them and point to the documentation site as much as possible to consolidate that information into one spot, which makes total sense to us. But yeah, Katie graciously took a stab at doing that for the top-level README inside of Google Doc that's linked inside that issue. We're happy to make PRs as well for some of these things. We know right now they're just in GitHub issues, but we can contribute some code, get in HTML and CSS for the website, and do some tweaking there as well. But if folks have other ideas for improving InstructLab's onboarding experience or things we could potentially help with, we're definitely interested in doing so. I think one of the things that prompted this, by the way, was Mo mentioned, I think there's an IBM Tech Exchange conference happening next week. I'm not sure to what extent InstructLab's presence will be there, but might be cool if we can get some of these tweaks or changes in before that as well. So that's sort of intro to what we've been up to. Any questions there? JJ, thank you for your comment on the issue, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, so I can tell you InstructLab is going to be heavily involved in Tech Exchange. I'm running with a handful of people probably on this call. I can't actually tell, unfortunately. Quite a few people running workshops and a sandbox area to teach InstructLab. So it's going to be very well represented. So expect expect hopefully a lot of people showing up in the triage ecosystem, wanting to engage, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully we'll see a nice little bump in activity.
Sweet.
That's great to hear. Yeah, like when I first joined the project, the readmes were a bit complicated. Like some of them were very long and messy. So rewriting some of the like org readmes is a good call, and I'm happy that there's a focus on the docs website just to keep everything centralized and easier to access. And speaking of docs.instructlab.ai, excuse me, I've been working on a write-up for the UI side of things. I've just submitted the first draft of it on GitHub the other day. I already got some feedback from Anil from the UI team. And if there's any other things you'd like to add or like some other phrasing, please tell me in the GitHub comments, because I want to make this as easy and as straightforward to understand, both for like running it like on UI.instructlab.ai and also just running it locally. Nathan, would you like to talk about the 0.19.3 release for the CLI?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Dominic. Yes, so we released another Z stream of the current major version of the CLI, which is 0.19, 0.19.3. Very minor changes regarding sort of AMD support. We have our next sort of more major release scheduled for Halloween, which will be 0.20, which will be our spookiest release yet, except for maybe 18. And yeah, if you're curious about the content that's going into that release, you can check out the 0.20 milestone. We're also we have a community meeting for the CLI specifically that happens on Thursdays at the same time as this meeting. So feel free to come and attend that if you want to deep dive into anything about the CLI. But I just wanted to call that out here in the main meeting. Charlie, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I mean, just generally, it's if people have topics for the CLI meeting, it'd be great to add them to the agenda beforehand. Because I know like we get into that meeting, we end up having a lot of great conversations. But if you have anything on your mind that like pops up throughout the week, feel free to just add it to that document that's linked to the meeting invite, I'm pretty sure. Because I know there's a lot of upcoming changes and changes that we've been doing in the Z streams and in 0.19 with how to run certain things in the CLI. All good changes, but I know that there's probably some questions. So feel free to add stuff to that document.
Yeah, I like to second what Charlie said as well, not only for the CLI meetings, but also for the community meeting and for the UI meetings. If there is something you want to talk about, then write in the notes or the agenda beforehand. It was similar to last week as well, where with the community meeting, we spent the first 15 or so minutes going through the notes, and then the rest of the meeting was just things that kind of came off the wall. Which yeah, so it would be nice just to be a bit more organized. Speaking of which, these are all of the notes for this week's community meetings. If there is something you would like to add, feel free to do so now. And if there isn't, then I'm free, or I'd be more than happy to give back the 50 minutes. I see that Mustafa left a comment for 0.19.3. There's going to be a new package.
Details in the
Oh,
chat
yeah.
on what exactly you can do now with the 0.19.3 update. So specifically, when Nathan had mentioned the AMD updates earlier, we have a new extra available that you can use when installing the package. This is basically meant to support the use case for people with AMD GPUs in order to make sure that they have the correct package versions to enable those GPUs to run our workflows. So similar to how we had InstructLab CUDA as an installable for people with NVIDIA GPUs with flash attention support, now we have InstructLab ROCm to match.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. Any more questions? I'll take that as a no. And if there's nothing else that anybody wants to add, then I'm happy with ending the meeting here.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much for joining. Hope everybody has a good day.
Thanks, Dominic. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.